This is the TUDOR Black Bay GMT SNG, and if you like vintage style watches, TUDOR is always going to be a good bet. And if you also like a GMT function, this watch may be perfect for you. Today I get hands-on experience with this great looking two-tone GMT watch from TUDOR. It has a 41mm steel case, a thickness of 14.6mm, lug to lug of 50mm, lug width of 22mm. The bracelet tapers from 22mm down to 18mm, and TUDOR still managed to add these faux rivets that everybody loves to hate. I actually like these faux rivets, and certainly isn't a deal breaker for me. The coin edge bezel is a 48-click bidirectional GMT bezel used to track a third time zone, and the insert is made of anodized aluminum with a matte finish in black and brown. The crown has an 8mm diameter, and I always enjoyed TUDOR's crown on their Black Bay models. They're on the larger side and very easy to function. It also helps that there are no crown guards, so gripping the crown is that much easier. It is a screw-down crown and signed with TUDOR's Rose logo. The watch, even though it is a GMT, still maintains the 200 meters of water resistance, which is a friendly reminder that this also serves as a highly capable diver's watch. The movement inside is TUDOR's in-house caliber MT5652 with approximately 70 hours, and as expected with a brand of this caliber, has a caller GMT function with that jumping hour hand. Now, as the name implies, it is a steel and gold model. However, there are certain areas where the material isn't fully made of yellow gold. This is all laid out on their website, and I think it's refreshing to see a brand be this detailed with their specs. Here are the areas where the steel is capped with yellow gold. The bezel and crown are both covered with a 0.3mm yellow gold cap. The center links of the bracelet are covered with a 0.2mm yellow gold cap. The parts that are solid yellow gold, however, are the first center links at the 6 and 12 o'clock side. The dial is also filled with gold accents. The hands, indices, the printing, the bezel markings are all gold toned, adding to the warmth. The dial is advertised as domed and adds another layer of depth, which is always welcomed. Now here's a quick tutorial on how to set up your GMT that's considered a traveler's GMT. To operate the watch, just simply unscrew the crown counterclockwise and wind it clockwise to kickstart the movement. The winding action on these TUDOR in-house movements are always silky smooth. You can feel the gears ticking as you turn the crown. It's really a fun experience winding the movement with these watches. Once the watch is running, you first want to set up your reference time using the 24-hour hand, which will be your home time. Pull out the crown 2 clicks, which will hack the movement, and stop the seconds hand. So for example, the time in New York where I live is 8:10 a.m. I'll move the GMT hand to the 8-hour mark on the bezel and the 10-minute mark with the minute hand on the dial. Push the crown in to get the watch running again. Next is setting up the local time, which is the time zone you are currently in. Pull the crown out 1 click this time. The seconds hand will still run so as to not lose its accuracy. This position will adjust the local hour hand and also to change the date. So since I'm still in the same time zone and it's March 1st, for example, I'll rotate the hour hand until the date shows the 1st and point it to 8 a.m. on the dial. So now both hands are reading the same time. Just to note, you can also move the local hour backwards if you want to backdate. Now that the watch is set up to travel, when you get to your destination, say LA, and the time is 3 hours behind, you can adjust the local hour hand back 3 hours. So now it'll read 5:10 a.m. in LA and 8:10 a.m. back in New York. And lastly, with the help of a rotating bezel, you can track a third time zone. So if you want to track Tokyo, which is 14 hours ahead of the reference time, 8:10 a.m., I can simply move the bezel counterclockwise until the top hits 14. So now the time in Japan shows 10:10 p.m. There's also a video I made explaining the difference between the Traveler GMTs and other office GMTs, and I'll leave that link somewhere in the description, so feel free to check that out if you're unclear between the two. Now here are my pros to this watch. I really like the warm tones that this watch displays. It's very easy on the eyes. There's nothing flashy about this watch, except for maybe its size. And even though it has yellow gold elements, the brushed finish makes it look very subdued and classy. The crown action, as I've mentioned, is buttery smooth and very easy to turn with that 8mm crown. The snowflake hands is a polarizing design. I initially disliked it, but later grew to really like the snowflake hands. But some people still despise it. If you like or even love the snowflake hands, you'll be happy that the GMT hand also has the snowflake design. That, plus the second hand, gives you 3 snowflakes in one dial. Some might think it's too much, but some might really enjoy them. TUDOR also makes some of the best aluminum bezel inserts in the game, in my opinion. I really enjoy looking at the finishing. It gives off this perfect blend of reflection against the light and maintains its vintage style design. As far as my dislikes go, the thickness is one area that could improve. The diameter is great. 41mm is a great size for a lot of people, but I wish they could shave off a millimeter to make it less top heavy, lower the center of gravity, and to make it more cuff friendly. The lug to lug of 50mm is also large for a 41mm watch. I would have liked to see it under 49mm. Also, similar to the Black Bay 58, the first link by the clasp on the 6 o'clock side doesn't articulate inward to conform to your wrist. It does, however, articulate outward, which is pointless. Not sure why it was designed this way. But this one is only a problem for people with slim wrists. Next up is the pointed tip of the TUDOR shield on the clasp. This area easily scratches the center link of the bracelet, as you can see in this example. And since the center link is a precious metal on the top layer, I can't help but think the softness of the metal will scratch a lot easier. Lastly, TUDOR seems to continue manufacturing their 3-link bracelets for the Black Bay 41s with 4 permanent links. Whether it's the Black Bay Chrono, the Black Bay 41, or this Black Bay GMT, the first removable link starts with the 5th link. And again, that is only a problem for people with smaller wrists. Perhaps this watch was made specifically for larger wristed people, but it's a shame for those who gravitate towards this model and can't find a good fit. Besides the watch being on the larger side, which unfortunately I am sized out of, TUDOR doesn't fail to do what it was designed to do, and that is to be a highly capable, highly legible diver with the ability to track 2 to 3 different time zones. It also does a great job at giving you the vintage feel if that's what you're after. The build quality is exceptional, and if you have the wrist for it, I think you'll be very happy with this watch. Thanks for watching.